Selamat petang.
Selamat petang dan nak masuk tengah hari dah. Selamat datang ke live channel House of Ingredient. So hari ni event kita adalah
CALLEBAUT.
CALLEBAUT. Macam mana pronounce dia betul? CALLEBAUT.
CALLEBAUT chocolate from Belgium. Hello， 大家好，欢迎你们来到我们这个现场直播的 HOI 的这个现场直播。所以今天我们的这个活动呢是 CALLEBAUT chocolate。
betul tu. Hari ini brand CALLEBAUT kita ada promo dan kita ada live demo daripada Chef Amanda. Pukul berapa? Pukul 1. So kalau mana yang free kat rumah, boleh ada masa lagi datang ke House of Ingredient untuk join live demo kita. Tiada bayaran, jangan risau, tiada bayaran tersembunyi, semuanya free. Dan kalau tak nak masuk live demo kelas, boleh datang untuk rasa kita punya food sampling. Ya. Kita ada banyak food sampling. Kalau tadi ada follow kita yang pukul 12 punya tu live, FB live kan. Kita sudah tunjuk kita ini setiap event yang untuk ini event ada apa. You nak cuba kopi, you nak cuba kita punya food sampling, semua guna ni coklat. Semuanya guna coklat CALLEBAUT. Yang mana tahu CALLEBAUT adalah salah satu brand international yang sangat-sangat premium dan sedap. Coklat apa panggil betul-betul coklat. Real coklat.
You nak dah coklat, milk coklat kita pun boleh try. So ada ramai orang tak tahu di coklat itu percentage macam dia ada tulis 80%, 50% dia apa beza. So you pun boleh datang sini try betul-betul yang mana sesuai you untuk buat apa yang you nak buat punya dessert.
Betul tu, betul. Sebab kadang-kadang ada certain nak yang lebih pahit ataupun rasa macam manis sikit ke kan. Lepas tu kita ada juga CALLEBAUT ni yang caramel. Kalau tengok tadi kita buat live Facebook, kita tunjukkan setiap dessert yang
semua
ada.
Semua ada guna ni CALLEBAUT coklat.
So datang ke House of Ingredient kita sampai pukul 5. Masih lagi ada masa untuk datang ke House of Ingredient. Sebelum saya lupa, saya nak minta sangat you all untuk sharekan live ni.
Like dulu, tolong share banyak-banyak bagi ramai-ramai you punya kawan-kawan, family tahu.
Tekan link untuk tengok live Facebook live kita di YouTube.
Betul. You nak tekan masuk dalam. Kita ada tu page tu live demo, so you tekan masuk dalam, so dia akan pergi kita punya YouTube sana, so you boleh tengok kita ini sekarang. Nanti pukul 1 kita chef buat punya live demo. So dia ada buat 2 resepi.
Andai kata you tak nak pergi masuk Facebook, tak apa, boleh terus masuk direct ke YouTube, terus tekan House of Ingredient. Nanti dia akan keluarlah link untuk live kita.
Betul.
Nanti kita pun akan tunjukkan Chef Amanda kita buat demo. Sebarang pertanyaan boleh tinggalkan komen. Kita akan Chef kita akan jawab. So kita akan reply lah mana-mana komen.
Betul.
Andai kata tak tahu kat mana House of Ingredient ni buat event, kita ada dekat House of Ingredient Bandar Sri Damansara. Boleh boleh pergi Facebook, ada alamat kat situ, ataupun pergi ke Google search.
Atau you masuk kita punya HOI House of Ingredients punya page Facebook sana, you boleh nampak kita sana pun ada share kita punya location dengan kita punya address. Kalau lagi tak faham, you boleh boleh call kita sana ada number.
Betul. Andai kata you nak beli barang ni, nak dapatkan harga promo, tapi saya tak sempat lah nak datang, boleh pergi masuk website kita hoibaking.com hoibaking.com hoibaking.com. Boleh tengok apa yang kita jual kat situ.
Betul.
Separuh barang memang ada promo dan banyak lagi barang yang kita jual. Boleh masuk dekat website kita.
Kalau nak sekarang ada kita live punya kawan-kawan, kalau boleh you boleh sekarang dulu masuk kita punya hoibaking.com sana tengok. Kerana hari ini punya offer kita untuk hari ini sahaja. Dan yang walk in kena tengok dekat naik atas. Harga atas dapat harga promo dan kita ada free gift. Apa free gift kita? Kalau you percuma you beli CALLEBAUT punya produk, RM150 ke atas. Kita ada free ini kitchen towel. Buka tengok.
Kitchen towel.
Dia saiz pun besar ni, kitchen dia lembut.
Dia lembut dan kurang air kan. Dia absorb water ni kan.
Dia besar, besar ni.
Besar ni.
Ya, dia cantik ada logo.
Ada brand dia. Selebau. Nampak tak? Ada brand dia, okey. So, barang ni adalah kulit yang premium. Barang yang mahal lah. Boleh kata.
Luar sana tak ada joy Ingatlah tak ada joy Ini kita untuk free gift sahaja. So you beli all yang CALLEBAUT punya coklat, so dia akan dapat ini towel lah.
Betul tu. Tiada jual di mana-mana. Dapatkan sekarang. Lepas tu salah satu kalau
beli 300 ke atas, kita free ni mesin bowl. Ni
boleh
blow.
masuk microwave. Ada nama
CALLEBAUT. So dia boleh tahan panas, dia boleh masuk microwave. Okay. Ini memang ramai customer suka lah.
Ya, betul lah.
Bagi RM300 so kita boleh dapat. Atau kita boleh dapat ini spatula.
Spatula ni.
Ini boleh sekali you boleh
So mana-mana yang bakers ataupun seller-seller yang menggunakan coklat CALLEBAUT ni boleh datang ke House of Indian, dah beli RM300 ke atas ataupun RM150 ke atas akan dapat free gift.
Ya, ingat-ingat untuk hari ini sahaja.
Ya. So kalau yang mana housewife ataupun dia bukan bakers ataupun dia memang bukan penjual mana-mana, dia nak try barang CALLEBAUT ni, tapi ni terlalu besar kan. Kita ada repack punya.
Ya, betul.
Repack punya
250 gram.
250 gram. Ini 823. Kalau nak tahu CALLEBAUT mix ni macam mana rasa dia boleh dikatakan macam coklat Cadbury.
Ya.
Saya suka kalau buat sisa ke cookies ke kan boleh. Warna dia macam ni.
Ni brown sikit punya. Kalau dark punya dia hitam.
Hitam ni 81188. Lepas tu yang ini adalah gold white. Ni macam crema. Tadi salah satu dessert kita ada pakai ni, apa nama dia, orange praline ni.
Hazelnut praline orange. So nanti chef akan tunjuk kita guna ni lah. Nanti chef akan buat ini hazelnut praline.
Ataupun kita ada white chocolate. Kalau tak nak dark, tak nak milk, kita ada white chocolate ni. White chocolate COUVERTURE.
Ya. So lagi kenapa kita nak buat ada live demo. So coklat kan dia ada banyak yang cara. So dia coklat semua yang ada dia sendiri punya suhu. Bukan yang cakap kita cair sahaja. So dulu kita dapat banyak customer punya tanya feedback, kenapa coklat saya tak cair. COUVERTURE mahal-mahal tapi tak cair. Coklat rosak. Ini bukan So
ini
nanti
adalah penggunaan suhu yang tertentu untuk dapatkan dia punya tekstur yang betul. Bukan sembarangan kita boleh double boil, tak.
Bukan
dia ada
double boil saja.
Cara dia tertentu.
So yang buat coklat punya chef, semua chef kan dia memang sabar saja. Dia punya sabar, kerana coklat tak boleh cepat. Dia memang nak suruh dia nak turun dia suhu tak boleh tinggi sangat, tak boleh cepat.
So kalau macam tak faham lagi macam mana tu, datang ke House of Ingredient untuk tanya dengan chef kita sendiri macam mana penggunaan dia, macam mana nak dapatkan tekstur yang cantik.
Betul. Lagi kita kecuali hari ini, so ingatkan hari ini kita punya event memang yang untuk tahun ni kita last lah. So kita hari ni offer punya pun sampai hari ni sahaja.
Hari ni sahaja offer. Event hari ini adalah last untuk tahun ni. Kita tak tahu tahun depan ada lagi ke. Tak tahu lagi kan macam mana. So
follow kita.
Follow kita punya page Facebook House of Ingredient dan datang ke House of Ingredient sekarang.
Ya, betul.
Sampai pukul 5. Ada masa lagi kan. Kalau tak buat apa-apa kat rumah boleh datang. You boleh tengok kita hari ni chef buat punya, atau you kata ambil kita resepi. So nak Christmas sudah kan. So Christmas you boleh buat coklat untuk Christmas gift bagi you punya kawan-kawan, family. Semua orang mesti suka punya. Mana yang jual kuih, nak jual kuih raya, biasanya dia orang akan buat tester. Nak bagi customer rasa. Boleh guna CALLEBAUT kan, bagi rasa kat tester customer. Untuk rasa coklat dia kan, mana buat Melanda boleh guna 811, 823. Memang akan dapat rasalah perbezaan guna premium punya brand dengan biasa punya brand.
Ya, betul. So you boleh try dulu datang sini, rasa kita punya sampling.
Dan kita bukan hanya jual coklat sahaja ya, kita jual macam-macam dalam house of ingredient ni.
So you boleh masuk kita punya hoibaking.com. So kecuali hari ni ada buat offer, so kita ada lain punya product item pun ada buat offer. Macam tadi kalau ada nampak kita punya FB Live, so kita Camel machine dengan tilong hidup coffee machine pun ada buat offer juga untuk hari ni. Bukan ada offer, kita ada yang free gift juga.
Ya, betul.
Ya.
Tadi kita ada tunjuk dalam Facebook live kita kan, kopi yang kita guna, mesin kopi.
Kalau siapa suka nak high tea ke, afternoon tea ke, mau relax boleh datang sini, cuba kita punya kopi.
Kopi tu free saja, tak ada bayaran. So tak payah beli kopi Starbucks mahal-mahal. Datang ke HOI boleh rasa kopi.
Kalau nak tahu banyak yang coffee machine macam mana guna semua ni, siapa ada peminat punya pun boleh datang sini. Kita sini ada barista kita, dia boleh explain bagi kita tahu. Kita boleh tunjuk you macam mana buat kita punya kopi. Okay, so nanti saya rasa nanti masa sudah.
So sekarang kita nak tunjuk Chef Amanda kita buat live, demo live.
Maksudnya, so jangan pergi mana-mana.
Jangan mana-mana, tolong sharekan Facebook, sharekan live banyak-banyak. So kita tunjukkan apa chef kita buat lah. Tunggu stay tune, jangan ke mana.
Okay, nanti kita jumpa lagi.
Okay, can hear, right? Hello. Okay. Thank you for coming. My name is Amanda. I'm from CALLEBAUT. So we actually the largest chocolate manufacturer in the world. So today I'm going to do more on CALLEBAUT today. So I'm sure some of you might be familiar with the CALLEBAUT. The hero range, I would say we call it the hero range, which is the dark milk white, which is the 811, 823 and W2. These are our hero range for CALLEBAUT, which is the common dark milk white. So, and today actually we're going to promote more on our CALLEBAUT Gold. So this is our gold chocolate, which is actually our salted caramel chocolate. So this salted caramel chocolate is actually without any artificial, without any flavoring or even coloring. So it's all natural product. So we actually caramelize the sugar to become a caramel chocolate. So this is how we get our salted caramel. We call it gold chocolate. So in the recipe, if you all see CALLEBAUT Gold, meaning I'm using this chocolate actually for the product. So for today, I'll be doing actually 2 simple recipes. One will be a coffee and caramel mousse cake, and another one will be a hazelnut praline and orange cake. So I'll start with the basic brownies first, which is the first recipe that you can see is the caramel coffee. We have the ingredients for the brownies will be sugar. I added some salt as well, and eggs as well. So for the other ingredients that we have also is actually chocolate and also some butter, which I'm going to melt it down. And the other dry ingredients will be some flour, cocoa powder, CALLEBAUT cocoa powder, some walnuts also as well. So for the brownies this round, I'm using a 70% dark chocolate. So because for brownies I usually like to use more bitter chocolate instead of a semi-sweet chocolate. So I'll use 70 also. Then I'll just, instead of using a mixer, I'll just use a hand blender like this. This is just a small amount. So I'm going to whip it up first. So you will melt down the butter and the chocolate together first. The normal way of doing brownies is I usually melt the chocolate and the butter. So while waiting for the melted chocolate and butter, so all the dry ingredients I'll pour in the bowl to mix it well first. Followed by the slightly roasted walnuts as well. 没有啊。 So mix all the dry ingredients first. Okay. So this is the melted butter and the chocolate together. So once it's melted, you can just actually add into the egg mixture. So give it a stir. Then the dry ingredients goes in. So for this, I will actually pour on the tray. So I'll bake in the oven first for about 10 to 15 minutes first, 170. So while baking the brownies now, I'm going to proceed to the second recipe first. So I'm going to jump the recipe. So I'm going to do the hazelnut praline orange cake first. So for the cake batter, we actually have our hazelnut praline. I'm not sure you all heard of our hazelnut praline before. This is our very premium hazelnut praline. It's 50% sugar and 50% nuts only. So this is our hazelnut praline that we have. So I'm going to make a cake using hazelnut praline, and no butter is used. This is using oil instead. And the basic ingredients will be the eggs, flour, and some other like candied orange. I'm going to use some candied orange, the mixed peel. I think they call it mixed peel here. So for this recipe, I'll be using the mixer. Ê, 呢個冇用，呢個係安咗㗎。OK。Okay. So the eggs goes in together with the hazelnut praline and the salt as well. So for this, I'll use a paddle to mix it. So same goes for the dry ingredients. So all the flour and also the baking powder mixed together first. And the orange peel as well. So always remember to always scrape the side also. So once it's completely mixed well, you can slowly add in the oil. Before I add in the flour, just to show you the texture of the product, I think it's slightly like this. It's like a paste. So I have not added the flour yet. So once this is like this kind of texture, and you can actually fold in the flour already actually. So yeah, once you added the flour, so the texture is different already. You can actually see is like a thicker version already, like a cake. So it's about this kind of texture. So for this, I actually gonna use a silicone mold. I'm gonna pipe it in this shape for the cake. So I'm going to put into the mold about 3/4 full. Người nó to, sao chị xin? Alo, mình xem con. 이거? 용 이거. 이거 고정. So I'll bake in the oven 170 first. I put about 20 minutes first for this oven. So later I will check again, see how is it. So for the next recipe, I'll be doing the same recipe, hazelnut praline orange, but I'll be doing the buttercream, chocolate buttercream. So the ingredients is actually butter, soft butter, some orange zest, and also white chocolate. I'll be using our W2. So for this, I'll melt it down to 30 degrees first. Then only I'll whisk the butter until light and fluffy and add the melted chocolate and the orange zest. 呢個你放喺 mixer 我用 whisk So always when we melt chocolate, I always tell be very patient and to the microwave. I always like use also. Then medium heat. I do about 30 seconds first. So definitely 30 seconds it won't melt yet, but of course you have to do it continuously, meaning another 30 seconds, after another 30 seconds until it's completely melted, then it's ready. So don't put 1 minute in or 2 minutes, you'll burn your chocolate immediately. Ah. For me, I always like to use microwave to melt my chocolate. I don't use bain-marie very much because bain-marie has water content, so I'm a bit sensitive with water, and chocolate are the worst enemy, so that's what they say. So you have to be very careful when you're doing double boiling also, so that's why I always use microwave. Just that you need to be very careful with your microwave also, because different microwave will have different heat also, so depending how strong your microwave is also, so always go to medium heat, then intervals in melting it. So while I'm melting this, actually this one, the butter needs to be whipped up. After that, so ito potong lah. Okay. Ito ada okay. HOI. Coi làng hình cầu tình. Well, you drop it until 30 first. the butter is soft and light and fluffy, you can actually add the melted chocolate that I cool it down until 30, the white chocolate. And slowly pour it in. So scrape the side again, then before you can add the orange zest. So I'll add the orange zest in. So for this buttercream is basically just white chocolate and some butter, and to enhance the taste I added some orange zest. So usually for this buttercream I'll leave it like overnight, the next day only I'll pipe, because now I think it's a bit too soft to pipe, so usually I'll leave it overnight.
Can you use for the cake?
Sorry?
Can you use for the cake?
Cake? Yeah, I'm going to pipe on the cake later actually. Yeah, this is the topping like a buttercream, like usually when you do cupcake or anything.
It's my first time to use the white chocolate.
Usually yeah, the normal buttercream will be just icing sugar and butter.
Yes.
Yeah, or either you do the Italian meringue buttercream. There's a different type of buttercream, but this is just chocolate and
Not too sweet.
that's why because it's white chocolate, some might find it a bit sweet, right? So that's why I added some orange zest. Or you can add something that is more on the citrus side to balance off the sweetness a bit. Or if you don't want to use our W2, you can always use our velvet. I think velvet is not in 1 kilo bag, it's on 2.5. The velvet one is actually our less sweet white chocolate. If you notice outside, there's also a velvet CALLEBAUT white chocolate. So the velvet means it's actually a less sweet white chocolate. Yep. So you can use that if you find our W2 sometimes could be on the sweeter side, so you can always use velvet as well. Yep. Yes, room temperature. Yes. like you see something those in the outside, you can sample, right? That is the texture of it. It still stands even in room temperature. So those samples that you have outside actually is the small cake that I prepared. It's the hazelnut praline. So on top is the buttercream and some hazelnut on top. So it's quite a stable cream. I mean, yeah. I mean 最好你去洗呢啲洗呢啲嘢啊，因為唔夠用。洗嗰個啫啦，嗰啲其他唔使應該。洗嗰啲嘢啫，嗰啲唔使先。應該係，暫時應該係。So now I'm going to do the next recipe, which is the same recipe from hazelnut praline orange cake, which is the chocolate coating. So if you can see the recipe itself, chocolate coating is I'm using the CALLEBAUT Gold, which is the caramel chocolate. Coating is basically just chocolate and oil, and you can add nuts to it also if you want, or you just leave it plain also can. So remember always for chocolate sometimes we need to do tempering. That's the most important thing. So that's the difference between real chocolate couverture and compound. So compound you don't need to temper, right? So couverture is a bit more on a technical and more you need to do a lot of work before you can actually coat your cake or you don't do any decoration. So I'm going to temper the gold chocolate, which is melted down to 40 to 45 first. So I also use microwave as usual. Then I'm going to do tabling method here for the gold chocolate. Can also. It's like a cream cheese frosting. Yeah, can. If you don't want to use butter, you can always do a cream cheese frosting also can. So always important also when you are doing tempering, your table has to be clean, no water or dry. So you have to make sure everything is dry and clean here. So this is already melted down, the gold chocolate, so it's about 42 degrees. So I'll start to temper the chocolate on the marble. We call it tabling. So this is one of the method of tempering. So I'll pour 2/3 of the chocolate on the table first. So usually I will leave a bit on the bowl, so I don't do all. So to do tabling, it's very important to spread out your chocolate. So because chocolates have cocoa butter, right? So you need to create good crystals when you are doing tempering. So very important to do it on a marble table and not on your stainless steel table. So it's very important. So because I don't encourage people to do it on a stainless steel, because when you actually do scraping, you actually scrape metal pieces also through your chocolate, so it's not very healthy. So always, if you don't have a marble table, then there's always another method of doing tempering, which is a seeding, which I will show again also later. So always spread around and gather all the chocolates in the center first. So by cooling it down, actually create more good crystals, because cocoa butter has crystals. So in order to create good crystals, we need to have a good tempered chocolate, then only you get the shine, you get the snap. So it's very important. So this is not yet 27. I'll bring it down to 27 first. So sometimes I use this also, but sometimes I just scrape like this. So if you are not very familiar in scraping this way, you can always scrape this way as well. So if you're not very familiar in using one hand, you can always scrape using a spatula as well. So it's almost there. Okay, it's 27. So once it's achieved the 27 degrees, I'll scrape it back to the bowl. So remember to always scrape it clean, so you won't have a hard time cleaning the table later.應該你篤下應該未哦，你睇先。嚟，再加10 minutes 啊。So once you add it to the warm chocolate just now, give it a stir again. Make sure it's really mixed well. So in order to achieve the correct temperature for this, so for gold usually I'll prefer 29 to 30 degrees for this gold chocolate. So it's about 28. It's okay. Okay, for this because it's a coating, so I'll be adding some oil also and some toasted hazelnuts that's been chopped. So usually I will use normal sunflower oil, which is good enough. I don't use olive oil because olive oil have a very strong taste. So I will try to use as natural oil as possible, or even grapeseed oil also can. Palm oil also can, but I don't like the palm oil taste, because the aftertaste, so I still prefer to use corn oil. It's still a good, or sunflower, yes. So give it a stir. So for coating, why we add oil is because we want it to be a soft coating. We don't want it to be a hard coating. By coating just chocolate itself, your product might crack. So that's why it's important to add a bit of oil to your coating before you do any glazing on your end products. So it's to prevent for any cracking. So this is more like a soft coating already. So, but if you are coating just purely chocolate, it will be hard coating. Yeah. Coconut oil can also, but coconut oil you will set in a cold room temperature. So meaning your coating might be a different texture already also, because like corn oil or what, it doesn't set in room temperature. So coconut oil is also an option, but the texture will be different. Yeah. So once it's actually mixed well, you can add in your nuts. So you can add in any nuts that you want. So I'm going to use hazelnut because the cake that I'm making is actually hazelnut praline. So I still prefer to use hazelnut. So give it a stir. Then I'll pour it in a container. 呢個可以放一邊先。So this actually I prepared here also, and it's frozen. So ensure that your cakes are frozen before you can do any coating. So it's easier to coat also, and it sets faster, and it will prevent for any dripping. You know, if your cake is an ambient, it's in room temperature, right? You cannot coat nicely because it might fall off when you're doing coating. So it's important to always have the cakes to be frozen. So for this, I'll just use some satay sticks and do some simple coating. Spatula. Oh, so for this, I can coat like this. So that's why you can see very fast the chocolate is actually, the coating is actually setting already. So I don't use a wire rack because because your cakes are frozen and your coating is properly tempered, so you have no issue of the over dripping. So it's still a very nice, it sets properly lah. Yes. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Actually, Magnum is also a soft coating. Yeah, ice cream is also a soft coating. The ice cream for Magnum, yes, it is a soft coating, so it actually has more oil as compared to a normal. This Magnum one will be more dilute because it's an ice cream, it's a frozen item. Yes. Yes. Yes, for those ice cream coating, they have their own recipe for coating. So it's like for basic cakes that we want to coat, is usually I use this kind of recipe lah. But usually for ice cream, it's definitely more dilute one. The coating is definitely more dilute than compared to this. because for ice cream they also don't want a thick coating, they want a thin coating, and also they don't want it to crack. So that's why it has a lot of oil also actually to help to have a soft coating itself, so it prevents it from cracking, because ice cream will be kept in the freezer, so it's frozen, so the chances of it cracking is higher, so compared to this the cakes that we keep in the chiller or in the room temperature. The toys. So for the buttercream also I already prepared in advance, so actually you can see the texture is already setting. It's an easier texture as compared to just now where it's not really set yet. So this is still a very easy to pipe, you know, when you are doing. So I already overnight, so it's still okay, very good, nice to pipe later.唔知佢哋去睇冇啊？攞呢個筆出嚟少少啦嚇，一個可以嗰啲。可以。So she'll pass around, you all can have a look at the buttercream, the texture is it. So I just make some simple decoration just to decor on top. So I actually make some chocolate CALLEBAUT stamps. So I'll just decor on top here.
Yes, good. Your
how long we need to wait until it's like can be served?
I'll defrost it like maybe 2 to 3 hours outside in room temperature. So this cake is actually, you don't need to keep in a chiller. It's meant to eat it at room temperature. Yeah. So that's why I prepare this.
If it's not finished, then you can just keep it in the room temperature.
Yes, correct. Yeah. So that's why I'm preparing this cake first because it's still frozen. So by the time we proceed to the other recipe first, it will be defrosted, then can still try it later. Yeah. Okay. So I'm not sure whether you are familiar with the kind of stamps. I mean, a lot of places are doing it for their own branding. So yeah, so this is just a CALLEBAUT stamp. So it's the same process of using chocolate, meaning you have to temper your chocolate. Then you have to do stamping. If you have the stamp, you can do your own stamping by yourself, your own branding and everything. Okay. 如果唔係放另外一個 tray 啊，放另外一個 tray。呢個你吹攬你先。So I'll keep this aside first, so we can try it later. So we'll now move back to the first recipe, which is the caramel coffee cake. So this is for the ganache. Okay. So for the brownies, so this is the brownies. So I'll cut to the ring size of this cake first. So usually for the recipe for the ganache and the mousse is suitable for 2 cake rings. But of course, the balanced brownies, I can always use it for something else. So don't worry about wastage or anything. So for this, I'm going to make some mousse. So I'll usually line the cake ring with some plastic as well, so easier to unmold. For the brownies is actually half recipe only. Sorry? Yes. Yep, quite a lot. But also depends actually how thick you want it to be actually. Yeah, some might want it to be like a thicker base, then a bit of mousse, or but I like with more mousse. Yeah, so you can, but now the brownie is about 1 cm thick. So if you want it to be higher, of course you can do it in a smaller pan. It doesn't go through. So the next layer is actually a coffee ganache on top of the brownies. So I'm going to make a ganache using our milk chocolate, which is the 823. Then some Nescafe as well, cream, and also some butter. So I'll heat up the cream first. I'll heat the cream. So I'll heat up the cream together with the Nescafe. Có chuẩn bị có handstick blender. Chop 呢個先係咪？OK。So for making ganache, I always use a handstick blender to blend the ganache. So because I don't use a whisk, because whisk will incorporate a lot of air into it, then your ganache will spoil faster. So always use a handstick blender if you have, or I mean it's not too expensive to invest on a handstick blender as well. So you can blend anything very easily, and you don't incorporate air when using whisk sometimes. So always use a handstick blender to blend your ganache. Then you get a very smooth texture also actually. By using whisk, sometimes your ganache might split also by using whisk. So usually I don't boil the cream. I will heat the cream, meaning I will heat it until 80 degrees. Yet. So it's about 80. Then I'll pour it to the chocolate. So usually after pouring the hot liquid to the chocolate, I will leave it for a while for it to like sit in first. Let the hot liquid melt the chocolate naturally before stirring. So if you usually pour hot liquid straight to your chocolate and you stir straight away, your liquid might cool down faster, then sometimes your chocolate will not melt properly. So usually I will leave it for about 30 seconds or how for a while before I start stirring, then only I will hand blend. Okay. So I'll hand blend the mixture. So I'll let it cool down a little bit more before I actually blend in the butter in. So this is, I think, I'll wait until it's about 30, or now it's about 30, so I can actually blend in the butter already. So sometimes if it's too warm, let it cool down a bit more before you add in the butter. Okay, so you can actually see a very silky smooth ganache by using a hand blender. So the texture of this is like this, the ganache. So for this, so on top of the brownies will be the ganache, the coffee ganache. So I'm going to scale it first. So I scale about 80 grams per layer. So don't worry if there's any balance of ganache. You can always use it to decorate your cake on top later. So even though there's balance, no worries. You can always keep your ganache and use it for other purpose also can. So for this, I will leave it to set for a while in the fridge first. Okay, while waiting, we will proceed to the next one. The next part will be the gold mousse. This is the CALLEBAUT gold chocolate mousse. So I'll be using cream as well, some gelatin, gold chocolate, and some whipped cream as well. So for this, if you see the recipe, I wrote gelatin mass. So gelatin mass is actually already bloomed gelatin. So basically 1 to 5. I usually scale 1 part of gelatin to 5 part of water. So this is the gelatin mass. So we call it mass because it's already mixed and bloom with water. So then I will heat up the cream together with the gelatin. Yes, it's powder. Yes, correct.
So it's actually using like 12 grams of the powder to make the gelatin mass in the...
Yes, about that. Yeah. But usually, because for my side, I always make gelatin mass in a big bowl like this. I pour it in the tray, and I'll cut it in portions, and I'll actually keep it frozen. So whenever you actually need to use it, you can just defrost a bit, and you can start using it. That's how I usually do my gelatin mass. I don't do gelatin mass when I want to do a particular recipe only just to do the mass. So usually I'll prepare in a big tray first, and I'll cut it in portion, and I'll freeze it first. Then only when I need to use some, I'll just defrost some. Then it's easier for working as well. So I'll heat up the cream. The gelatin goes in as well. So for the chocolate, I'll pour it in the bowl first. So once the cream is heated up, then you can actually pour it to the chocolate straight away. So over here also I already whipped up some cream already, so it's semi-whipped. So most always I'll do it in a semi-whipped cream. Có 40 to 45 đúng không? Đây rồi, có đặc kìa. Đây,到時我做士丁。OK。So one is heated up, then you can actually add it to the chocolate. Same process. I'll leave it to infuse, let it melt by itself first. Then I'll stir. So basically it's actually like a ganache based mousse. So if you see the process is actually same as making a coffee ganache just now. It's basically cream heated up, then you pour it to the chocolate. So it's basically like a ganache based mousse. So the texture is like this. I mean, a normal, very glossy kind of ganache because it's with gelatin also. So definitely it will be slightly on the shiny side. So it's about 37. I'll let it cool down a bit more first. I'll usually fold in by 35 degrees. Then only I'll start to fold in the whipped cream. So you don't want your ganache to be too warm when you fold in the cream. If not, your cream will all dilute straight away. So I usually wait until it's about 35. Then I'll fold in the cream. Yes, it's cold. It's from the fridge. Yeah, straight from the fridge. So the next part is actually the coating of the cake. So if you notice outside when you have sampling, it's slightly coated with a dark chocolate outside. So the one is using our 811, and I use also some blended cocoa nibs. So I'm not sure if you're all familiar with using cocoa nibs. So a lot of people use for decorations, also for brownies as toppings when you're baking, to reduce the sweetness somehow, because it's 100% cocoa, so it has no sugar. So cocoa nibs is a very good additional application that you can use for any baking. So for the coating, I also actually blended some of the nibs actually because I find it too chunky, too big piece for me. So I blended it a bit. So you can actually blend your cocoa nibs also. So it will turn out to be a different color also, actually more chocolatey color also, and the aroma is very nice. When you blend the cocoa nibs, actually it's like it's smelling real chocolate, but actually yeah, chocolate comes from cocoa nibs as well, but then yeah, it has a nicer texture also, not difficult to bite, so it's more fine I consider. So this is I blended it, the cocoa nibs. Yes, can, because sometimes if you buy just the raw one already, right, it's quite big, like I find it too big for me, for myself. So usually I will blend to make my products. Unless if you are baking brownies, which is like a big tray, then you don't need to blend probably. You can just sprinkle it straight away. But if you are planning to do like some coating or some cookies or even cakes, sometimes you might want it more fine, right? So I will blend it. Yeah, you can do your sablé using cocoa nibs, blended one. Yes, so yeah, it's a bit on the chunky side for me lah. I find it very hard to bite. So usually when I try to do any products with cocoa nibs, I try to blend it a bit. Yeah, so it's a very nice texture also. You won't get it too hard as you bite at the bitterness of the cocoa nibs. You can have a look. You can have a oh, no problem. And the color before blending it is different also when after blending. So it has a very nice brownish color as well. So before one is actually more on the very dark and whitish color. So this blended one, it actually looks nicer. And you can smell the aroma of the chocolate is very strong after blending it. Yeah. Actually, if you smell the cocoa nibs itself only, you don't really get the very chocolatey smell. So once you blend it, right, actually has a very nice. Like I'm wearing mask now, also I can smell the aroma of the chocolate itself. Very nice. Yes, correct. It's like mocha, correct. So I think the ganache is ready. Yeah. So I'll fold in a bit of the cream first. 可唔可以幫我洗攞嗰個紅色嗰支嘢？唔知嘅vật㗎啦，紅色啊啊。So the mousse is ready. Then I'll finish it up on top of the cake just now. So since this is a mousse, right? So you have, of course, you have to keep it frozen. So yeah, actually, if you are not using the cake tomorrow, you can keep it in a month, nicely wrapped in the freezer. Also, no issue. 應該阿妹呢度冇位啊！我陣間放住呢度先。冇位㗎。冇位。我陣間呢個因為呢個斜啊，我要睇下先啊。呢個拎落嚟，又攞住呢個啊。This one I'll keep it in the freezer later lah. Because the freezer can't fit the tray, so I'll keep it later. But I actually have prepared already a ready frozen one, so I'll show you how I'll coat the cake itself.
This cake is best served frozen, no.
Chilled, yeah. So this has to be in the chiller.
Take it out from the frozen in the chiller for around 2-3 hours again.
Like the one I prepared earlier, already one here. I already defrosted yesterday. Then already coated lah. Coated. You coat. Yeah, the cake has to be frozen before you do any coating, right?
Yeah.
So it's frozen, coated, then in the chiller.
In the chiller. Oh, okay.
Yes. So this cake has to be chilled lah because it's a mousse, right?
Yeah.
You don't eat it in room temperature, so it has to be in a chilled condition. So for the previous cake, you see, actually the other cake you don't need to be chilled. That one is a room temperature cake. It's more like a butter cake kind of texture. Like we call it travel cake. We call it travel cake, meaning travel cakes are actually all room temperature cakes. We don't eat it in a chilled condition.
If it's in chill condition, it'll be more tough, right?
Yes, correct. And it's not nice. Then you will say it's very hard and very dry kind of texture. But actually, when you actually have it in room temperature, it's actually very moist and soft. Yeah. So for this, for the last part of the cake is actually coating, but I'll be using 811 also as the coating. I'm using 811 and some oil as well, and also just now the blended cocoa nibs as the coating. So I'm using some blended cocoa nibs lah. So for this has to be tempered as well, like usual. For any couvertures, it needs to be tempered. So this also I heated up to 40 to 45 degrees first. It's 42. So usually if if you don't have a marble table at home, you can always do seeding method. So seeding method meaning adding fresh chocolates to your melted chocolate. So for tabling and seeding is also a different method of doing tempering. So because chocolate that is all melted is actually no good crystals yet. So in order to create good crystals, we are adding good crystals into the chocolate, melted chocolate itself. So like this, all these are actually tempered chocolate. So these are already all tempered chocolate and they are all with good crystals.
The ratio if we don't have a marble table is doing adding the chocolate.
Like usually I'll do like for example, this is about 700. Let me see whether she scale. Yeah, so this is about I did about half recipe only for this. So this is about 350. So usually I'll put a handful to the mixture itself first. I stir until it's really like cooked. The carrots are all melted down first. Then I'll check the temperature again to see what is the temperature. If it's still very warm, I'll add a bit more. I'll cool it down until like 30 to 31 for dark. So this is called a seeding method. So by adding good crystals to the melted chocolate that is with no good crystals at all yet, so it helps to create more good crystals in your chocolate itself also. So this is called seeding method. So tabling is different. So tabling, like just now, we melt the chocolates, you kept folding it in, keep it cool to 27 first, then you add it back to your bowl of chocolate, then you stir it first, then you need to see what is the temperature of the chocolate first before you can actually proceed to do your coating or do your decoration. Because like for dark, usually I will cool it down until 30 to 31. So for milk will be like 29, 28, 20, yeah, that's different for dark milk white. So white is the slowest one, usually it's about 27, 28 degrees. So it differs for all different chocolates. So very important to have the correct temperature when you're doing tempering. So I'll just add a bit of fresh chocolate to it. So, sorry. So seeding is more on stirring most of the time. You use your hand a lot to stir, sorry. So if you don't have a marble table at home, it's best to do seeding. Cleaner also, not so messy sometimes. So yeah, so always remember, don't do it on a stainless steel, because I've been to places and customers' places, they do tempering on a stainless steel, which I say no, you can't do on a stainless steel because it will really scrape off the metals. So it's not good for your product as well. So even though you want to do tabling, you ensure you have a marble tabletop first. If not, you just do seeding. It's still a safer way. So do you all do tempering a lot or no? Oh, I haven't tried yet. Okay. Okay. So you have a marble top as well, or?
I was telling my mom to use the floor.
That one you really have to alcohol a lot really before you can actually. But actually granite also not really a marble. It's a stone. Yeah. So don't encourage. I mean, if you don't have a marble top or table like slab like this, so just do seeding. It takes longer to do tempering because yes, you need to keep stirring it until you really achieve the correct temperature. Because tabling is very fast. So usually like us who we travel a lot and do customer in our place, we always do tabling. We don't do seeding at all because we want to be fast and efficient when you're doing anything. So yeah, seeding will take a little bit more time because you have to stir it until you really achieve the temperature. So you can see actually the carrots are all melted down already. So I see it's still warm. So I will check the temperature again. So it's 34. So I'll still add a bit more chocolate. But now with technology in every in places like some even hotels or even production kitchens, they are very advanced. They have tempering machine, so they you don't need to do stirring. So the machine helps you to do the tempering now. So it's very convenient for us lah, when we are doing work or anything. So, but this is more like a traditional way of tempering instead of having a machine. So basically, actually, tempering has, for us, we do practice tabling and seeding a lot. Another method would be the microwave, which is, it takes a bit more skill when you're doing tempering with microwave. It's not easy. So I'm not going to show that because not everyone can able to do microwave. So mini microwave, you actually melt the chocolate, and you don't really actually melt it completely, because you have to really achieve the exact temperature for that particular chocolate without adding any more chocolate to it, meaning you need to melt the chocolate until it's really achieved to like 30 for dark, 29 for milk. So it has to be some very skillful job using microwave. So usually I don't show microwave as well, because different places have different microwaves as well also, so very hard to catch the correct one. So usually I'll just do tabling or seeding. So that's the difference when using couverture and also compound. So compound, you don't need tempering. Once it's melted, you can actually use it already. So but chocolate, of course, you need to temper. If not, you won't get the shine, you won't get the nice glossy look. Compound is different. Once it's melted, you can coat, no issue. But chocolate, definitely you can see, even though you can coat it, but once it's set, you can see it's not glossy, it's very dull looking and a lot of white lines sometimes. So that's why real chocolate, you have to be really like tempered before you can actually do anything. It's too cold. 13. So it's about 30, but then I still have some like carrots that is not really completely melted. So usually I will actually use a heat gun. I'm not sure you all know what I'm talking about, heat gun, right? It's like a hair dryer that we use in chocolate. So usually I will use a heat gun to melt off the excess. You can, but you need to be very careful because of the heat also. So you don't do it directly, like, because it's too hot sometimes, it might burn your chocolate also. So you need to be very careful, because the heat gun, we can adjust the temperature. Heat gun, we can adjust the temperature. You want 50, 60, 80, we can adjust. So hair dryer also can, but then you need to be very careful. So for now, because we don't have a heat gun here also, I'll put in the microwave for a while. I'll try to melt it off, the excess carrots first. Inside while we So I put in about 10 seconds. You can see it's really completely melted off already. So need to see also lah, when you which the microwave that you use also very different. So always, also when I melt chocolate, I prefer to use microwavable bowls. I don't use glass bowls because glass help to retain the heat sometimes. So sometimes when you're doing tempering, it might not be very accurate because the bowl might be still warm. Because if you're using a glass bowl to melt your chocolate and do tempering, the bowl sometimes could be still warm because it's glass. So I also always encourage to use like this kind of plastic kind of microwave bowls. Yeah, correct. Because glass will retain heat, right? So it's very important when you're doing tempering. Okay. Check and see. So sometimes if I want to check whether the chocolate sets nicely, so I'll just dip it with any spatula or anything, just leave it for a while just to see whether it sets nicely or not. Then I will add in the oil as well, coating, and followed by the nibs, the blended nibs just now. See oil got tray. Yung go tray lang may coat with tanko. Okay, more just. So always, also one tips to like how you all store your chocolates also very important, right? So I always don't store my chocolate in the chiller, in the fridge, because it creates humidity to your chocolate. So as moisture goes into your chocolate, then when you start melting your chocolate, you find that your chocolate is thickened. Why is it thickened? So yeah, it's because you kept it in the chiller already. So usually if you can, I mean, if in an air-conditioned room will be the best, but then not all places have 24 hours air-conditioned. So usually we will encourage them to, like here we still store it in the like room temp that is not too hot, no direct sunlight, and it's still dry. Still it didn't melt. I mean the chocolate, so it's still okay. But if you can, like sometimes I tell customers if they can invest in a wine cellar, is the best place to keep your chocolates.
Previously, it happened to me that my chocolate has some fat bloom. So will it affect?
Fat bloom, no issue.
No issue, right?
Yes, unless it's sugar bloom.
Oh, okay.
So fat bloom is whitish in color, right? So it doesn't matter because no matter what application you're going to do, the chocolate will, the fat will melt off for sure. But if sugar bloom, there's a different case. Because sugar bloom, there's sugar grains on top of the surface of the chocolate already, which you cannot use it. You can still use it for baking. You can still use it for baking if it happens to be sugar bloom. Because baking, you somehow add sugar to it, like doing brownies or whatever, you still add sugar, so it doesn't matter the chocolate. But if you are talking about doing molding, doing coating, then it's not suitable. You can't use it anymore.
Okay, but the fat bloom one is okay.
Yes, correct. Fat bloom, no issue. Any fat bloom issue, we will melt off completely.
Yeah, because it happened to me, I opened 2 packs of my chocolate, all fat bloom.
Yeah, it could be because of storage, temperature, fluctuation, place that you kept, from one place to another. You know, sometimes when you buy from here, you don't keep, and it's still warm sometimes outside. You know, when you reach home, then it start to cold, so a lot of temperature fluctuation. So that can cause flat bloom, correct? Yep. So yeah, so it's set properly, the chocolate, so no issue. So I'll just add in the oil. Okay. So doing coating actually, why I do coating is not because I want to use more chocolate and promote more chocolate, but it's actually a good protection to your cake as well, as in preventing it from drying. So if you are doing a mousse, your mousse cake does not dry easily as well. So if like we did the ambient travel cake, it doesn't dry up. It's still very moist inside. So that's why we do a lot of coatings when we do you know, our products sometimes for those dry and travel cakes, those kind of travel cakes. Because if you just leave a normal butter cake outside, I'm sure the next few days you find it very dry already. But if you try coating it with some chocolate maybe, or you know, or some soft coating, or you will see a difference actually. So once it's melted out, then mix well already, then you can add in the nibs. Okay, coating. So this coating and the gold coating, you can use it for any coating of your cakes. It not necessarily has to be a mousse cake. It can be a normal butter cake as well. So or even your cookie, it's like a coating. So it helps by coating cookie, also helps to prevent it from getting soggy as well. So sometimes cookie is nice to have some coating as well. So your cookie doesn't stay, it stays crunchy most of the time. HOI lên á. So over here I have a mousse cake that's already prepared. It's frozen. So for glazing, always remember you need to be frozen. Bỏ con một trong nhiều vào. Có con và hồng sắc kìa. So for this, I'll use just a knife to do a coating. So usually I'll dip it straight directly. So for the top part, to make it look more presentable, I'm going to dust some cocoa powder. So I have here some CALLEBAUT cocoa powder, cocoa deco gel. So I'm going to lightly dust on top, not too much. So over here I'm going to use some clear gel, or they call it deco gel sometimes. Deco gel. So I'm going to just dip on top. So don't over scrap it. You want to see the effect. If you keep brushing it very often, then the smear, the effect of the cocoa powder won't be so nice. So try your best to 1, 2, 3. Oh, okay, that's good enough. So yeah, so I like the effect of the cocoa powder itself over there. What's on? Okay. Okay. Oh, 美好。Okay. So this, you can see the color is not really set yet. That's why the color is still not really dark yet. Yeah. So this is I prepared yesterday. So it was chilled in the chiller since yesterday. So if you like just now when I was saying, if you have extra brownies, sometimes I just cut into cubes like this, and I dust it with some cocoa powder as well. Then I can use it for decoration also. So I make use of everything that I can. So usually I will just it's quite a lot actually. So no worries about the coating, because the coating can last very long. Because it's basically chocolate and oil, right? You can keep it outside in room temperature, no issue. Yeah. Nope. Try avoid keeping a lot of chocolate products in the fridge. Even ganache also the same.
You put it in a chocolate mold, then it can become chocolate, right?
Can be a snack. Can be a snack bar also. Yep. So over here also I actually prepared a chocolate deco with the gold chocolate. So this is actually how I do it is actually I pipe it on a plastic. Then I use any cover, you see any cover that is round, and I press it over it and lift it up. So that's how you get the effect of it lah. It's basically a cover that you pipe on the chocolate, then you stick it and lift it up, then you get the effect. This is how I do this deco lah. Simple one, not too tedious. Then I will just deco on top. That is gold, so everything has to be gold. Yeah, but not everything has to be really gold. Still have some nice chocolate balanced color of chocolate also will be nice. Not everything has to be really gold or everything has to be dark. So a mixture of everything is good. Yeah, I'm going to use some gold leaf. So I'm going to use some gold leaf also. Add value, yeah. Value added to your product, then you can sell more expensive. Yeah, gold leaf are also very expensive to use. 會生㗎。I think the bottle one are like flakes, right? Yeah, they are not one piece. Yeah. Those are cheaper, slightly cheaper compared to this.
Yeah, the bottom one cheaper, right?
Yes, correct. The sheets one are the more expensive one. Which one you want, Mama? Both also got, so you can choose. OK， 應該係咁多咯，做完咗嗬。啊，咁我哋執下呢度先，等先啊。OK。呢個放住呢度先，呢個放拉尾先啦。OK。幫我clear 咗嗰度嘅嘢先，呢個搬走佢啊。 It's not because we want to use more chocolate. It really helps to really prevent the cake from falling. Yeah. It is. Actually, if you try it yourself, you can see the difference. If you really do a cake, butter cake with it or without, you can see the difference. Texture of cake.
Okay, hi.
Okey dah, habis dah kita punya demo live daripada Chef Amanda.
我们的 event 这个课程已经到尾声了。
So dah tengok tadi kan apa yang chef kita buat. Apa guna coklat apa. Kita boleh pelbagaikan coklat tu buat dessert ke, kek ke, baking, macam-macam boleh buat. Dan dia gunakan suhu-suhu tertentu kan. Nampak tak ada sentiasa. Cek suhu kan.
So coklat memang buat masa coklat dia memang ada dia punya guna dengan cara dia. So kenapa chef selalu nampak dia potong suhu dan kenapa nak guna itu marble. OK， 所以刚刚老师你没有看到了，老师说我们所做的巧克力灯，它自己是有试制那个温度的，所以巧克力煮温度呢，就是一定要试它的温度的。然后你会看到老师一直有用那个 marble， 是不是 marble 是怎样去做的巧克力？如果刚才还是不太了解的话，你们可以分享 share 了我们这个 Facebook， 你们回去还可以 feedback 再看回去。
Ya betul tu.
Saya cakap itu tadi chef ada kenapa guna marble, kenapa apa. Kalau tak apa faham lagi, you orang boleh share kita Facebook, nanti feedback balik, tengok balik.
Boleh tengok balik dekat YouTube. Tengok balik macam mana dia buat.
Ini hari ni punya live you memang dah share dengan dah simpan kan. You punya ini page kerana ini tadi chef ada cakapannya yang teknik kenapa tu coklat nak guna suhu macam mana tu. Lagi chef ada guna tadi dia cakap kan.
CALLEBAUT punya
CALLEBAUT punya bowl. Kenapa nak guna ni plastik punya bowl? So dia
sebab
boleh
dia tahan panas dan dia boleh masuk microwave.
Ya, warm dia. So ini bowl kita tak ada dry.
Tak
kita
ada jual kat mana-mana. Tak ada jual. Macam mana nak dapatkan?
So you
pembelian secara
jadi CALLEBAUT punya produk semua 300 ke atas kita ada free ini bowl. So cepat tahu untuk hari ini sahaja. So lagi berapa jam saja. Kalau tak sempat, you orang boleh masuk kita punya HOI packing. Sekarang cepat-cepat masuk HOI packing kita. Ambil kita punya free gift dan kita punya offer. Okey, kalau tak nak bowl, kita pun ada spatula juga dengan ini tower. Tower ni beli RM150, so kita boleh dapat ini tower juga.
Ini free gift.
Ya, betul. So kalau you orang tak sempat ke apa ke, you boleh masuk kita hoipacking.com. Boleh enjoy kita punya hari ni punya offer dan kita punya free gift. So ingat kita free gift ini dengan ini offer kan kita untuk hari ini sahaja.
Untuk hari ini sahaja guys. Dan untuk pengetahuan ini adalah event
last hari ni kita last event untuk tahun ni. So kita nak event lagi mungkin kita jumpa yang tahun depan.
Ya, mungkin jumpa tahun depan lagi.
So kita sekarang
nak dapatkan promo, dapatkan sekarang hari ni. Hari ni je. Lepas tu dah tak ada dah harga promo.
Ya, betul.
Lepas tu kalau walk in naik ke atas ya sebab harga promo adalah dekat tingkat atas.
Kita
kalau
event
tak tahu,
ni lah
boleh tanya staff kita.
Ya, betul. So kalau nak apa-apa tahu kita ada offer apa lagi, promo apa kan, follow kita punya Facebook, HOI House of Ingredients punya Facebook dan kita punya hoipacking.com. You pun boleh dapat tahu kita ada apa offer. Mungkin kita Christmas ada Christmas offer, kita Raya Cina ada Raya Cina punya offer.
Hari Raya pun ada Raya punya offer. Setiap perayaan ada offer dia.
Ya, betul. So sekarang bagi tahu sekarang kita Raya Cina dengan Christmas tu ada banyak produk, new produk sudah masuk.
Betul tu. Macam-macam benda boleh dapatkan dekat HOI. Mengikut setiap perayaan. So kalau siapa rasa nak nak buat tenter untuk apa kuih raya Cina ataupun hari raya, boleh dapatkan hand soil sekarang.
Ya, betul. Okay, so hari ni kita sampai ni saja.
Sampai sini sahaja. Kita pun dah habis buat demo live.
So
ini
kita
sahaja daripada
mungkin
kami.
jumpa tahun
mohon
depan.
maaf daripada kami segala kekurangan ataupun tidak faham mana yang boleh tinggalkan komen, kita akan improve lagi kita punya live kan untuk next year.
Betul.
Mana yang kekurangan. So itu sahaja daripada kami. Maaf.
Itu cuma yang terbaik.
Jumpa lagi tahun depan.
Kita jumpa lagi.
Tak tahu
Ingat nak follow kita.
follow kita punya Facebook page. Follow dekat rapat-rapat, so boleh dapatkan detail dekat situ.
Okay, so sini kita nak wish you orang Merry Christmas and then Happy New Year. Okay, bye. Jumpa next year.
Bye. Daripada saya, Yana dan
Bye.
Bye.